Hi, Sandy.
Hi, it's Dave.
Hi, it's Kirk.
Welcome to the A.D.K rock and metal channel. And today we're doing Breaking Down and Pulled Apart, the series where we take a song, we break it into 1 minute sections, we go away, we watch the video, we make our own separate notes, and we come back together, play you a minute at a time, and give you our thoughts on each section. Today's band is a band called Type O Negative. They were formed in 1989, and we are going to be talking about the song Black Number One off the 1993 album Bloody Kisses. Which is I thought was weird because I couldn't remember which album it came off, and I assumed it was October Rust because I was like, oh, that's the big album everyone goes on about is October Rust, and then I was like, oh shit, no, it's not that one. It's the one before that, so it's off Bloody Kisses. I'm just gonna say it's a banger of a track. I love this song. I don't know where we're gonna go. It was a song I already knew, but I couldn't remember the video. I just remembered him having a big cello bass. That was all I could remember from the video from back in the day. But it's been great to go back and do it. I got to ask to Andy, Type O Negative, considering their class as a kind of a gothic doom band, is this a band that you have ever been into in a way, or is it too much in the gothic side of it that it was not doomy enough for you?
I can't answer that. Obviously, a band I know. I do actually know this song in this video, and coincidentally, a couple of months ago, I randomly just picked up the best of Type O Negative CD. This track's obviously on that. I don't know. It might be that same old thing about the name again. I don't know. And maybe it's just a little bit. I can't say melodic. Maybe it's not, as you say. Maybe it's a bit too at the gothic end of the spectrum rather than sort of straight out doom. But like you, I have always sort of enjoyed the track, and I really enjoyed sort of reviewing this one. And it's the one that got the most sort of views and attention when it comes to sort of covering it for this session and this video for the channel. But I don't know why I completely overlooked them, but I did really enjoy the selection that was on this compilation. I guess it covers their the range of their career and the albums that they produced. But yeah, I really enjoyed this track. Do you want me to carry on, or do you want to go back to you?
We're going to start in a minute. So I just wanted to ask. So Kirk, your history of Type O, you've covered them before, really got into them, listened to them?
Yeah, I own this album, Bloody Kisses. I think people will be shocked to find out that it's about an hour and 10 minutes in length. It's not an easily accessible album, and Pete Steele's roots are in thrash and death metal in a New York band called Carnivore.
Yeah.
So this was a bit of a departure, wasn't it? I just know Type O Negative, Kerrang, and Terrorizer and Metal Hammer all love this band. And I think this song was on the Blair Witch soundtrack. I think that's where that was probably my entry point. I wasn't old enough in 1993 to be buying this album.
I mean,
got into it.
I like the fact with Type O Negative, the fact that they get straight into a record deal because he had a record deal with Carnivore when they broke up. And they were like, shit, well, you're already tied to a record deal with your old band. And then they were like, heard a bit of his new band's demo, and they're like, all right, we'll just take you on then. And they just took Type O straight into a record deal. I thought that's brilliant. That is such a great idea. Okay, let's play the first minute of this song for you at home.
She's in love with herself. She likes the dark. And on her milk white neck, the devil's mark. Now it's All Hallows Eve. The moon is full. Will she trick or treat? I bet she will. She's got a daylight midnight with those fun.
Okay, kicking this one off. So we've got that lovely, simple bass line, that lovely little count that goes on with it, non-gated vocals, so you can hear all of his little. That you can hear all the time. Normally they'd put a gate and a pop filter in front of you. None of that stuff. You can hear everything, which I loved. Very Hammer horror. The closest of the mouth reminded me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. movie where except for obviously he's not in the red lips, but that talking and the close up on the mouth. The harpsichord part is very carnival as well. And just before it all kind of kicks in, it's basically we get a little bit of that little guitar trail there, and it all kind of kicks in. Absolutely phenomenal. I forgot how well this song was put together and layered, and how it builds, and how I'll talk about it as it goes on as well. But when I get to it, but it's the thought process of all the little nods that they put different things throughout the song, which I love as well. Andy?
Yeah, Dave, there is so many elements to this song. I really like that spoken word vocal at the beginning. It's unique, and I think you've just explained why that is. I didn't realize, but as you say, it's the natural recording of the voice without any gates and pop guards, as you said. It captures everything that Pete Steele is delivering there. I've put down that there's a really nice sort of keyboard sound. I couldn't place it, but harpsichord. Yes, you're absolutely right. Whether it's that instrument or whether it's the keyboard sound to sound like that, but the video throughout, but certainly this opening shot is just so simple and so effective. Just that black and white shot of Pete Steele. He kind of comes in and out of the blackness as well, which is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, haunting is what I put down for those vocals as well. Very brilliant. Great start.
Just stands out. Kirk?
Yeah, I like how the bass sketches out the main riff in the opening verse, and you're waiting for that tag, that guitar do 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 at the end, aren't you? And Pete Steele, yeah, again, because this isn't the first time I've heard it, I'm always just thinking, I'm looking forward to when he switches from that deadpan bass voice, that low gothic voice, to more of a baritone voice, which starts to open his lungs. And the video is supposed to be spooky. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's really a homage, isn't it, to all the ghoulish characters and creatures that have informed people's imagination, in the Hollywood age onwards, and also Hammer horror from Britain as well. So yeah, great start, and the fangs as well. You can, I imagine, if I'd, unfortunately I was 10 going on 11 in 1993. I didn't have MTV, but if I'd have seen this when I was 13, I would have liked it straight away. So yeah, great intro.
Great start.
And yeah, you're just waiting for more, aren't you?
You are. So let's kick into the next minute. This is minute 1 to minute 2 for you at home. Okay, so we're now into obviously where it starts to. We've got more of the rest of the instrumentations coming in. It's kind of almost what it reminded me of was like doom-laden Misfits band, because it's got that shock thing of the Misfits, but it's literally like the Misfits got on stage and decided we're going to do some doom songs for once, and just went down that route. I love that kind of. I love the fact that he had a massive cello playing it as a bass with a big chain, and you're like, that's just such a fucking Pete Steele thing to do. It's brilliant. And I loved it when the guitarist comes in with his vocals, because it just gives a massive dynamic change for Pete. And then we know that we're going to get into the chorus in the next minute, but it allows dynamically the song to have a big change. And listening to that dynamic change when he's singing that section, I don't know how it goes, but what he says, but that whole section, it's almost a 60s pop tempo underneath that. So it's got the strumming of a 60s pop. So, like the disco dances, which he did in My Girlfriend's Girlfriend. It's got that vibe, but it's also got the same vibe of grunge's Smells Like Teen Spirit. If you follow that, it actually plays underneath pretty close to that underneath of what he's playing on the guitar. So it's really interesting. We hear that grunge crossover bit from that sort of time of what we have going on. But it's the 60s vibe I found. It's like deathly doomy 60s pop music. It's brilliant. Andy.
Yeah, going to echo a lot of what you said. I mean, there's a sort of simple, chuggy riff at this stage, but yeah, I love the shot of Pete Steele with you say it's a cello. I thought perhaps it's just a large stringed instrument, maybe a bass that he's got round his neck, playing in the traditional style of a bass. But that just goes to show. I mean, he's a man mountain this, or he was.
Yeah,
he was a big lad.
6'6", was he?
Yeah, so that's a really good shot. Not being that familiar with this style either, I really enjoyed the sort of vocals on this part, and I'm thinking this is almost unique as well and quite specialised. But Kirk, you'll say yes, there's a number of bands who employ this kind of vocal style. I got the Misfits vibe as well, Dave. And just before I hand over to you, Kirk, you said you heard this song on the Blair Witch soundtrack. I can't imagine the Blair Witch having a soundtrack album, but I'm not not disputing what you've said. I just
wouldn't really go with the concept, would it?
I'm sure there wasn't any sort of what do they call the music that is actually in the film? Incidental music. I don't think there was much of that in there.
Should we see?
It might have been on music inspired by the Blair Witch. They may have done an album like that.
Yeah,
Black Number One.
But yeah, are you searching for this while we're recording?
Yeah. Well, if I've said something factually incorrect.
Yeah, and I like when the guitarist sort of comes in with the vocals as well. As you say, one of many elements in this song, it just sort of breaks up a little bit. But yeah, it's great.
So good. Right, Kirk, we're over to you now.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I'm echoing what you said. I just want to pose a question. I guess it's rhetorical. So it's interesting how you have gothic metal developing on both sides of the Atlantic, but it's the footprint of Paradise Lost that ends up influencing the entire continent of Europe. I'm not saying there was an and or choice, because the way that Type O Negative evolve and Paradise Lost evolve at the same time is radically different in the end, isn't it? But it's just over here, this side of the Atlantic, Type O Negative had probably even more mainstream success in England than Paradise Lost. Yet on the continent of Europe, Paradise Lost were huge. There was only Metallica selling more records than them. And it always just intrigued me why you had that situation unfold here. Rhetorical question.
I was going to say, yeah, because what was the question? Was there actually a question there? Or
yeah, why does Europe adopt Paradise Lost, the gothic metal scene?
Well, if Europe would like to dial in and join this call, Europe can answer, because I ain't got a clue.
Whereas in England, Type O Negative is just as popular as Paradise Lost, if not more.
Maybe it's because it's got undertones of pop vibes as well, because they did have something very different there. We're very pop orientated without that Euro pop sort of stuff, and we're not as dark and as doomy and miserable.
I don't know. Joy Division and The Cure are from England. We're talking about the two darkest bands possibly of all time.
Okay, and on that topic, let's get to the next minute of the song. So this is minute 2 to minute 3 for you at home. Okay, so here we have the main chorus here. So black, 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 black number. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Love that. But it is, again, it's that 60s vibe. You can almost imagine the go-go dances. And you do, if you remember, there's a whole load of people dancing. They are doing 60s pop dancing in the background in some of those people. So there is a 60s vibe there. There was a lovely bit at 2 minutes 19, this lovely classical inspired piece, which I thought was great. Again, sort of just throws a little bit of a curveball. It's basically this grunge pop doom going on over in this track. And I loved it. Andy.
Yeah, it's interesting you say about the sort of 60s influence of the sort of chorus. I mean, 60s music, I'm going to get slated in the comments yet again, is so overrated. Everybody says, oh, you wouldn't have metal as it is today and rock as it is today if it weren't for the 60s. But they just had the title of the song repeated over and over again. But for this, it works. But I've never made the comparison, but it does sound like, you know, a Beatles classic where there's just the title of the song you just repeated, you know, several times to actually form the chorus. Like you, the sort of keyboard in the middle of this section I really liked as well. I've described it as medieval. It's a different sound from the first keyboard we heard during the intro, and the guitarist comes back with another passage that he sings as well. Again, yet more elements for a song that isn't just straightforward start to finish.
Yeah.
You know, it's keeping you interested. It's bringing more and more things into the mix. Really, really good.
Kirk.
Yeah, correction needed. So there is a typo negative song on the Blair Witch Project, and the reason they did a soundtrack, it's called Josh. I guess he's a character. I can't remember his mixtape, and it's the song called Haunted, a 10-minute song called Haunted. So I've just got things wrong. I don't know why I connect this song with the Blair Witch Project, but I think I heard it around that time, 1999. So apologies for giving you factually incorrect information. Yeah, this part, best part of the song, isn't it? You know, listen to that distorted arpeggio in the chorus. Good use of harpsichord, as we've said, to reset the dynamics at 2 minutes 16, almost like operatic, the way they've done that. And then the power of the vocals when he unleashes his words. Loving you was like loving the dead. Always reminds me of a joke in the film Wall Street when Charlie Sheen is talking about a former conquest, and he said that having sex with her was like reading the Financial Times. So similar line there from Pete.
Okay.
Pete Steele, loving you was like loving the dead. It's very
classic Pete Steele line there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a band who's best of, if I'm right in thinking, I did the best of records called the least worst of, isn't it? So they had a good sense of
that's the subtitle. I think that's down the sort of CD vertical bit on the
okay.
Yeah.
So good breakup line that. If you were breaking up with your partner, loving you was like loving the dead. Quote typo negative.
And for that, let's move on to the next minute of the song. So this is minute 3 to minute 4 for you at home. Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the song. I love this little mid before it builds back out into the change up near the end. But you've got the clicks, the finger snaps, which again, if you listen to this is like an absolute powerful nod to the Addams Family. This, and he absolutely leads in there because you've got that click and then the da-da-da-da on the little harpsichord. Yeah. So he's absolutely just gone, we know exactly what we're doing here. We love this, and we're actually going to lead into it. And that ties into all the different horror elements that you see in this video, and there are a lot of nods to horror films throughout this whole video. If you actually watch the video if you go back through the video and start watching all the background people and seeing how many different characters you can see from horror movies, there's a lot. If you go and spend the time, and I'll go through some of the ones I picked out at the end of our video, and you can check at home and let me know which ones I missed. But yeah, brilliant. I love that section. Andy.
Obviously didn't analyze it as closely as you did, because I haven't picked out any sort of individual characters, but there is that definite horror film feel to the whole look of the video and elements of the song. I'm going to hope that it's not the same keyboard sound that appears in this section of the song, because I've noted down it's again another unusual, really intriguing sort of keyboard tone. But Kirk has referred to the first two as harpsichord, but I think there's changes there, and again, you don't expect that in this sort of type of music. Not as sort of prominent and as a sort of lead as it is in this track, but yeah, nothing more to add really. It's just a really easy, accessible track. As I say, it's one I had heard before and was quite familiar with, but still wasn't enough back in the day for me to get into Typo Negative. I still can't explain why, because I love horror, I love the darkness, I love the sort of the vampiric elements of all this that's there. I love Pete Steele's vocals. He's somebody you could get drawn to and enjoy watching perform, because there's something different about him. He's not the run-of-the-mill rock star, is he? Because of his size and maybe it's because I was never a Misfits fan. I'm making the association with them and Danzig, but again, I probably like Misfits. I probably like Danzig, but just need to get to those. Get to those islands of music and listen to them. There's so much out there, you can't cover it all. But
that is the problem.
I'm expanding my horizons when it comes to sort of some of these, these major artists that everybody likes that I've never listened to. So, Typo Negative is one step forward in that direction.
Kirk.
The song's playful. I picked up on the Addams Family reference in musical form as well. It would be ideal also for that generation that love, in the late 80s, that love films like The Lost Boys. You can imagine it being on that soundtrack. But there's not really much more to add. I think we all agree this is a classic song. Dave, I think I did pick up on some of the iconic horror characters, ghoulish creatures. I think Max Schreck, who played Nosferatu, they have someone that looks like Nosferatu. Bela Lugosi. Am I right in thinking, doesn't he even mention Nosferatu in the first verse? I think he mentioned some of these. I
think he did. Yeah, in the first verse, I'm sure there was something about the vampire kiss or Nosferatu.
Yeah, need to go and read the lyrics, but
need to go check those out again.
Right, that's something that's good to just watch it for that reason alone.
Okay, let's play you the last 42 seconds of the song for you at home. Okay, so we're now just getting this big, obviously the repeat chorus at the end, but there's a little bit of a change up in this chorus, which I'm going to say. So it's where the drums change up. So it's like black, 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 number one, down, boom, 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 boom. Is that Tom Phil? Reminds me of Faith No More. Was what I picked out on that one. I was like,
midlife crisis. Midlife crisis. I know what you mean.
There's something about his playing on there that I was like, yeah, do you know what? This gives me his playing. Just specifically what he's doing on the drums there just made me stand out for that. It's just been a really well. I mean, I'm just giving you my kind of total summary then of what I picked out. But yeah, it's been done such in a great way with the Hammer horror style. If you watch the video where Pete Steele's playing underneath the tree. Did you all catch the little character, the kid in the Michael Myers mask in the tree?
Oh no!
He sits on a bench. There's a kid in a branch swinging on over the branch wearing a Michael Myers mask. So you've got that in there. You've got the Clockwork Orange, the Droogs guys. They're all floating around there. There's a girl that's dressed up as Wednesday Addams. Pete Steele's eyes go werewolf, like Werewolf in London, for one section of the song. And then basically there's a few other, as you picked up the vampire one in there. I was trying to find more, but there's definitely the Droogs ones. You'll do see them quite a lot floating around. And I wonder how many of these were actually where they invited people to come down and said, dress up in horror fancy dress. And they just got what they got. And a few people just, because at the time, maybe Clockwork Orange was a big film that was having revitalization at the time or something. But I was trying to find more, but yeah, the Clockwork Orange guys, there's I think at least 2 or 3 of them that are dressed up like that. But I loved watching every time Pete Steele was on there. You just see this little kid with a Michael Myers mask up in the tree. But that was great. Andy, final thoughts?
Just goes to show what you just said there, that, you know, what makes a really good music video. This has got rewatch value. I mean, it's a great song. So you want to hear that, but, you know, I and maybe people who watch this will want to go back and try and spot these characters and these people that you've identified. But I mean, it's I think it's, from what I understand, and you as sort of more avid fans will confirm or deny, but I think this is kind of classic typo negative. I mean, it wasn't the best song I heard on the compilation, but it kind of was the most accessible and sort of, you know, an easy gateway into the band. Probably the video had heavy rotation on the channels when it came out, but it's something you can get into if you like metal and not necessarily this genre. So there's so many elements in the song. You know, we've broken down the you know, dual vocals, the sort of keyboards, that almost unique introduction and the spoken word part. But yeah, just a really, really good track with a great video to accompany it.
Yeah.
I've remembered now where I came across this song. It was a Kerrang issue called The 100 Greatest Singles of All Time. And this was in certainly from number 50 onwards, counting down. So that's probably what inspired me to, I imagine I probably downloaded it on Napster. Just to really access it, unless you bought
LimeWire.
Or a friend at Sixth Form College probably had it and taped it for me. Because you remember when you put compilations together, and it's like, oh, I'll put some of my favorite songs on. So you won't just get an album. So this was definitely on it, yeah, in the time. And so I've got nostalgic reasons to like it as well. It's definitely stood the test of time, this song, hasn't it?
It's like this one, and the only other one, I mean, apart from like the only other one I really knew was My Girlfriend's Girlfriend, but the one that I really liked apart from this was Wolf Moon. That's an absolutely phenomenal one. Again, very gothic, very dramatic. I don't know what album it's off of or if it's even on a compilation. I don't know, but Wolf Moon is absolutely one of my favorite typo songs from there. Andy, have you got a comment on that? Because I can see you smirking.
No, I don't know Wolf Moon, but there's a one that kicks off this album that I've got. It's quite a long track. Again, it's got lots of elements to it, lots of different parts, and it's something about, you know, I mean, sex is kind of a theme that runs through typo negative songs, and not your sort of straightforward sort of
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's something about, I can't remember, to be honest. I'm gonna again. Makes you want to go and check it out, but it's something to do with getting revenge on somebody through sexual means. Right. I don't know, but he's got lots of tales to tell, probably from personal experiences as well. From what I know of Pete Steele. The late
final thoughts then. You've done your final thoughts. Sorry, I was going to say apart from this then. So I said like Wolf Moon's my probably one. Is there anything apart from this? What's your favorite typo track?
Me,
I like that.
No, I was going to say for Kirk. Well, you can have that as well, Andy, if you like.
No, I can't.
Christian Woman.
What was that?
Christian Woman from the same album.
Okay, don't know it. We'll have to check that one out. Maybe we should do some more deep diving on typo because I think we enjoyed that quite a lot. So
I like the Cinnamon Girl cover they did. Was it Neil Young track Cinnamon Girl?
I don't
I
know
don't
that.
know. Oh, okay.
We've got to do some more work. I think we need to explore Typo a bit more.
Yes, please. Yeah.
I think there's definitely some opportunities. Maybe we go through some of their singles and videos and do something like that and break them apart as well, like we've done this one, because I think we enjoyed this the most.
We did.
But let us know what you think in the comments down below. Typo Negative and Black Number 1. If you enjoyed our video today, please do like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in another video sometime very soon. Take care.